See, because I come back from the Northeast, being from Assam and, going out for fishing, going out for, hikes and all, it was always there. By default, you can say, because it was so raw out there. Going out for a picnic, taking your car and, just driving out. So, I think that outdoor thing was always there. Basically started in 1998 when I completed my post-graduation from Gwalior. So, when I say post-graduation, it's called Masters in Tourism Administration. I always been in the outdoors, and I was in Bharat Scouts and Guides, and so the outdoor was always there with me. So I did not wanted to get into any mainstream travel job kind of thing. Through my seniors and all network, I found out, and then those days, there are very few adventure company were there around. So through somebody, I came in touch with someone who was running a company in Rishikesh, and so I landed up there. And I had no idea about as far as river rafting is concerned. I come from a very small town, Dibrugarh, and no idea, no clue about what rafting was all about. But I was always very fond of the outdoors, very fond of the river. I know how to swim and all. So when I came here, then I met guys like Harish, and then my then the partner who was there, he's still one of the director in the company. Yeah, his name is Rajuraj Singh Jamwal. So he was another freak guy, he was there when I met him at the camp. And then we went for rafting one day. I started liking it so much. Again, second day went rafting, third day, and then I used to swim a lot. Summertime, you can, with your life jacket, you can float downstream 2-3 kilometers. So this is how this, the adventure, especially for rafting, my love for rafting has started. So that's when I decided that, let me also become a river guide. I also wanted to get trained and all. So for a couple of years I was trained under Harish, and then Harish and Riju Bhai. So for 2 years I was trained, because see, in India we don't have any rafting institute per se. There is no institute. Almost 90% of the guides are trained through the senior guides. As a trainee I was working for about a year or so. Then I spoke to Riju Bhai, because now that I have to look for a proper job and all. So he said, why don't you come over to Jammu? And he used to travel every weekend from Jammu to Rishikesh just to do rafting on the Ganges over the weekend. And then he used to go back. Like Friday he'll come here, drive 600 kilometers and do rafting for a couple of days, and then drives back. So I don't know, that was crazy, for me to find someone like him. This was totally destiny. I never thought about it. It was never in my vision or my plan, nothing. So he had a company those days. It was earlier, it was Northeast Outdoors, and it was registered in Jammu. I was there. I stayed for a couple of months. Jammu was first time also I went there, and he said, let's make a partnership firm. I said okay. And then he had some equipments, and I also put in some money, and we bought one more raft, and then we bought a second-hand Maruti van. I still remember. Got it fixed properly. So Deepu was traveling with me. He was also from Jammu. So me and Deepu started our journey from Jammu with all the equipments on a Maruti van. That's what we could afford that time. So on the way in Jalandhar, we were stopped by the cops, because there's so much of stuff loaded on the vehicle. So kya hai? How will you explain to them what is rafting? So I said, ये वो नीचे गंगा में competition है कश्ती का. So when I said kasti, they understood a boat and kind of thing. So they let us go, without too much of hassle. And then I think we reached here. We reached Rishikesh in the evening, and from there on we started. We started scouting for land. We started scouting for the beaches out here. We identified few beaches. Finally, we zeroed down to the particular beach. We were running the camp rapid fire. So that's where the journey started. I've rafted in so many rivers. Most of the rivers I've run. Ladakh I've run the Indus, Janskar. Those are all expedition rafting. Those are like for 7 days, 5 days. Overall the trips are about 10 days. Because you fly down to Leh, then you acclimatize yourself for 2 nights. Then you drive to Kargil. Then you go to the put-in point, which is after Kargil, another 7-8 hours of journey to the starting point of the river called the Janskar. and then you raft down for the next 5 days. You are on your raft. You camp every night. Then you hit new rapids. I've run the Kali. It's a border between Kumaon and Nepal. Then Satluj, Bias. In fact, I've rafted in one of the river close to somewhere in Bombay also. But there was one of those dam released water kind of a river, but very placid. Hardly any rapids and all. A very small river. Indus was quite a crazy river to run for me. I mean, that was in 2006. That river was like really turbulent. In our language we call it like, terminology basically, we call it as a bony river. Very fast flowing, a lot of stones. So if you pop out of the raft or raft flips, anything can happen. The only good part of the river was that the river and the road was close to each other. Unlike Janskar, or in the Brahmaputra, or like with the Kali also. But that was one river, believe me, like, and I will not like to go back again. A couple of guys got injured badly. A lot of equipment got damaged. For me, it's one of the toughest expedition I have done. I thought, anything could have happened. Thankfully, we came out all alive out of the river. But it was good fun. Every day in the morning, you drive about 30-40 kilometers because we used to do a recce from the road. Early morning, we drive out and check the river, which way to run. Because when you see a river flowing down, you see water is flowing down. But for us, there is a line. This is the line, you can see, we catch the line. We started with the camp first when me and Rijubhai started the company in 2000. So the first camp was Camp Rapid Fire, which was used to be very, very popular camp. Very well, nicely located, which unfortunately got closed in 2015 by NGT. And so it all started from there. After that, I opened 3 more camps. One was in Tons, which is again in Uttarakhand. And the other 2 was in Himachal. One in Mashobra and another one was in Rajgarh. Plus rafting, this particular section between Kodiala and Rishikesh, obviously, it has got the maximum number of rapids. It's got more footfall. When you come for rafting, you want to go for the big rapids and all. But it was getting too crowded. It was becoming too commercialized. So during that time, I was rafting down from Devrayag to our camp, which is downstream. It's another, let's say, about 20 kilometers downstream from here. So we used to raft from Devrayag. We used to camp on this beach only for lunch, take a couple of hours break here. So that was the time when I was passing by, I started thinking, if we can have something out here. Bit away, more offbeat, more pristine. Yes, of course, the road was not that good, and a lot of apprehension was also there, whether we'll be able to run it or not. And one fine day we came here, stayed the night, went across, met the local people out here. And they was very welcoming also. They said, karo up, you want to do something about it. And this road, this 12-kilometer road was really bad. That's why we have to come by raft only to reach this place. Because if it's raining or, during the monsoon and all, there's no way you could have come on this road. So this took about a couple of years to convert the land into, there's something called Section 143, where you have to convert agricultural land into a commercial land. And then we took permission for camping. So then it took another couple of years to build up the place. 2016 January we started this place. And I find this place unlike, it's like the whole place is not just about Banyan. The whole place is like an adventure playground. There's so much to do out here. Like we have come across the beach, you've got birding out here. Angling, this is one of the very popular sport across the globe. I mean, there are books has been written about this place. Over 130 years old books are written. BBC documentaries are there. But because of accessibility, people have not been able to come here. So there are other angling areas become more popular, like Ramganga, Pancheshwar, Kali, then in Siang, where you get the golden Mahashir. Then there's a lot of lovely hikes out here for mountain bikes also, because there's hardly any traffic. There are a lot of dirt road. Even the roads which are there, metal road, you can do mountain biking out here also. Rafting, of course, is the main activity out here. Then kayaking, and we'll be introducing a lot of duckies. Because see, this stretch from Devrayag till here, it doesn't have that big rapids and all. So for introductory, somebody coming for the first time, want to do adventure, it's a good introduction for them into the river. You don't need to go to the big rapids. Start from here. And for us, it's not that we have to go to the Rishikesh belt only for rafting, because we can go all the way up on the Alaknanda towards Srinagar. That stretch also has got some good rapids, class 4, class 3 rapids are there. And you want to do more extreme rapids, then you can go to the Bhagirathi So we have options, more options actually sitting here. We also have to see the background of the guys who are coming here, whether they are paddlers, whether they paddled earlier or not. In terms of activities, we have a lot to offer out here. If you go to the top, you will see it's like an Om. There is Om Parvat, which you see in the Kumaon area. Here, the Ganga actually becomes like an Om. Plus, the other history of this place is that it was one of the stopover point for going to Badrinath and Kedarnath. So this road which you have come, this is the Chardham trail actually. So there are bridges which was still there, which are very old now, made in 1928, 1919. There are signages where it is written Haridwar 55 km, Badrinath 133 km. So pilgrimage used to walk from here. And Chatti means an overnight stay place. That's why it's called Byas Chatti, Byas Ghat. And Byas Muni's birthplace also. And because it was not connected with the main highway, so it has always remained very pristine. There are a lot of wildlife out here. From leopard to bear, you have mountain goats out here. You have bucking deer, and that can be easily sighted. And I have seen it several times. We are training some new guides from the local village out here. So hopefully by a couple of years they will also become a guide. Not only here, they can go and guide with any company. It will give them job. Harish and all, they've been rafting for the last 30 years, Deepu 20 years, I am almost 22 years now, Naresh is about 15 years. We are all senior guides out here. So similarly, we are doing training for angling guides, and we are trying to stop people from poaching out here. And we have done a workshop in last November for angling, which I think was the first workshop happening in India. I mean, those days, even the rafts we used to get is more second-hand rafts. Even getting a new raft was also difficult. Some of the guys have actually gone abroad in Norway and US and all. They've got themselves trained and they've come back. They've also taught a lot of guys. I also I've learned from UI. So you have a permit and license comes from the tourism department. Then there is a license also given by the forest department because we are using the forest land for camping. And it was a very regulatory and you cannot have running water toilets. You cannot have electricity out here. You used to use lanterns, toilets were dry pit toilets. But it was an experience and people really used to enjoy. Even now people ask for such kind of camping with us. So the equipments we are using now, these are all NRS raft, Northwest River Supplies, which we have a dealer out here in Rishikesh with whom we can directly buy. Earlier we used to book it and then we had to import it. Now he is a dealer out here. I think he is a dealer for Southeast Asia. So equipments are easily available, which was not there earlier. It was quite a tedious task to get your equipments. And these are one of the finest rafts available in the world. NRS, the kayaks and the life jackets, paddle, helmets, everything. Each and every equipment are imported. You cannot rely on any equipment out here because those are mostly for flat water which they use. But for white water, all these equipment has to be imported. We are trying our best to make it popular, this sport. After coming here, since we are here for the last 7 years now, and even with the local boys out here, they started there because somehow this part, they did not get the opportunity. Because being close to Rishikesh, a lot of guys now goes abroad and do rafting and all. So here they didn't get the opportunity earlier. Now they have started seeing rafting. I think they have started liking it also. So a couple of guys are getting their training out here. See, Rishikesh, Ganga, this is the mecca of river rafting. This is where I think maximum people come for rafting. And now Arunachal has got a lot of potential. Fantastic rivers are there. Brahmaputra is there, Siang, Subansiri. So we are training some people out there also, some boys out there. In Arunachal, we mostly do expedition rafting. Even Janskar, we do expedition rafting. Janskar, even day trips also happen, like what you do in Rishikesh. Like you come for a couple of nights, you stay there and you do the day trips and you come back. But expedition rafting still has not taken off as far as India is concerned. I mean, maybe 5 to 10 expeditions happens in the entire year, by all the companies. There are a couple of companies who are trying to really pushing it up. Commercially, I mean, it's very expensive also when you see from the client's perspective. when you go for a expedition like Brahmaputra, so you are charged about 1,30,000 rupees per person. Similarly, Janskar is about 75 to 1 lakh rupees per person. Because there is cost to it. You fly down the gears, or you have to send your truck, and so the entire setup. It's a quite a logistic support you require to run a trip like that. But I'm hoping that down the line people will start going for it, because expedition rafting is a different experience altogether. We have a setup here. You stay here, you have a nice bathroom, and you go for day trips and come back and take a shower and all. But expedition rafting, it gives you that phenomenal experience of being into the outdoors and camping every night in a new camp, in a new beach. Because if I'm going down to Rishikesh, so I'll have to stop after 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and have to look for a secluded beach and all. And where we used to camp. So on the expedition, your cook are also traveling with you. They're also rafting down. So I would like people start going for expedition rafting. Like they go for trekking and all. Similarly for expedition rafting. We've got so many rivers. The entire Himalayan rivers are there. This is my lifeline, and especially the Ganga is like, it's my bread and butter. All I have started from here only.